Yo, what's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me is always my buddy, my close pal, the man with the plan, the one and only John Meleka, and special guest.
Let's go.
Let's go. You already know what it is. But before we ask John how he's doing, guys, ladies, everyone, you know what to do. If you listen to this podcast on all listening platforms, we're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a comment. We're also on YouTube. Knicks, Jets, ETC, period. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. And when you watch a video, hit the like button, hit that, leave a comment, add to the conversation. It's all good. We want to know, especially for this one. All you Jets fans out there, we need to know for this one. Let us know your draft grades of this one right now, okay? We're about to get into it. And while you're over at the YouTube page, we got another podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, our boy Chip Murphy. These guys go down everything. Baseball, basketball, NFL. You guys doing hockey? Hockey playoffs are going on. Are you guys going to do hockey? I hope so. People need to know, guys. People need to go. No.
I'll be like game 1 and game 3 Rangers. You know how it is. MSG playoffs, gotta be there, bro.
Yeah. Like I said, overs, unders, money lines, props. You need help? These guys got you. But do so responsibly when you're betting. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. John, you know what time it is?
What time is it, man? What time is it?
It's time to get saucy, baby. You know what it is.
Oh.
It's time to get saucy. Let's go. We got Sauce Gardner in the building, baby. We got Sauce Gardner, all right? And we got a Wilson to Wilson connection, too. Woo! Woo! Stuff's getting real good around here, man. Stuff's getting real good around here. But we can't just have John in on the action. You know, our other guy who's a Jets fan, video producer Greg's got to be with us today. Gentlemen, how are we all feeling? Jets been going. This is a pretty good Jets draft, I must say. I'm actually quite shocked how it's turning. I mean, we've done some mock drafts, whether it's with JD, whether it was with Greg, whether it's just speculation based on reports. It's been pretty solid, if I do say so myself. I'm going to start with you, John. How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
All right. Well, the day started pretty predictably. All right, from the 1 to 3 spots for me. All right, I had it in my mock, on my latest mock that I put out before the draft. Right, with Walker, Hutchinson, and Stingley. That was the 1, 2, 3. And then it was up to 4 for the Jets. We're sitting there, and in my opinion, before the draft started, it was the 2 players that were on top of the Jets board. It was later confirmed by Rich Cimini of ESPN, and he's been covering the Jets since they were the New York Titans. So he knows something that they were down to Ikem, the right tackle, or Sauce Gardner. Right? We all know that if they did choose Ikem, that means that likely Becton would be on the trade market, especially with very interesting comments from Font coming out today saying he's working on an extension with the Jets for left tackle, right? So it doesn't really make sense that we'd be able to keep both of them and a new right tackle, and the guards are all set up. So with that, they went with their number 1 corner, Sauce Gardner. I personally was not all over Sauce Gardner as you guys were, as the rest of Jets Nation was, as really the rest of the NFL world was, right? The number 1 stat is he didn't let up a touchdown when he was with Cincinnati. We also just signed DJ Reed, who didn't let up a touchdown with Seattle last year. Right? That's pretty nice. It's pretty good to hear. My number 1 criticism of watching the games, because I sit there and I watch every single snap Ahmad Gardner took this year. I promise you. And he's a bully. He's a bully at the line. He's a big bully, right? That's why he's getting the Cromartie, comps, which is great. I hope that translates. I was, Mel Kiper's having some interesting comments today. Like, as soon as the Cowboys drafted Tyler Smith at 24, he's like, this is the penalty waiting to happen. Right. I really felt like that was what we were going to get with Gardner. that doesn't mean I'm not really hyped about the Jets getting their number one cornerback on the board. I'm hyped, man. It like we just played in the beginning. If your boss is screaming sauce at you when he calls you, if Joe Douglas is like screaming, what he was like, what was he, spicy, whatever he screamed as soon as he picked up the phone, it's pretty hype, man. And him and DJ Reed, and now we got Hall as our third cornerback. The slots are picked up. I'm just starting with the fourth pick. I was surprised, but I'm not. I'm content, man. I'm okay.
Hold on.
Check on John.
Hold on. And the Jets trade to the 26th pick.
No way.
Oh my God, John, are we getting your guy?
Oh, the Jets trade up to 26. Let's go.
Are we getting your guy?
And the Jets traded up to 26 as we record. This is the thing that we've been talking about.
Go.
So John all day. So for those that don't know, I mean, John all day has been talking about Jermaine Johnson. We wanted him at 10. There was talks of him at 4, whatever it might be. We need a pass rusher. And there really was a group that was at the top of the list for the first round. And Jermaine Johnson, for some reason, was not picked. Some people are saying he's falling. Some people were saying that he was just overhyped. He's the last of that top end kind of guys. And John, there's a shot we just made the move up to get him.
Let's go.
Who we just traded with? Who we just traded with at 26? Was that Baltimore?
No, Baltimore chose Tyler Linderbaum, your boy.
Oh, no.
So it was a 26th pick, and the 20. Man, I don't even know.
I know we started recording and stopped watching the draft because we're dedicated to the craft. We're dedicated to the fans. We can talk about this first round.
Man, I'm flustered. I am flustered right now.
And it's changing.
So the terms, I got the terms.
Okay.
So Ian Rappaport tweets the Jets trade up for 26, and finally FSU edge rusher Jermaine Johnson goes. He lands in New York. They considered him at their earlier spots and now get him at 26. The terms are 26 and the 101. Oh, for the 35, 69. Oh, Connor Hughes is going to be pissed. And the 163. Let's go.
Okay.
That's A+ draft. Let's go, baby.
Oh my God. Let's go.
What do we say going into this? We kind of had 4 needs that we needed to address, and we've addressed 3 of them.
Corner,
in the first round. Yep.
Corner, wide receiver, edge rusher.
Yep.
And we also had offensive line. Offensive line's still a need. Like let's not shortchange it. But we in the first round we just addressed 3 of our 4 needs. We got 3 guys. Yeah. I don't even know. I'm besides myself. I'm legitimately besides myself. I don't even know what to think right now. Legitimately don't even know what to think. Do we have a GM? Do we have a GM? Do we have a GM?
Look at this. Dude, we've had a Johnson is weird.
Hold on. Because people were talking smack about Joe Douglas. It was like, oh, he's not doing this. He ain't doing it. Yo, my man just got 3 top guys. We got someone for Zach Wilson. We helped Saleh get 2 positional needs. Let's go.
I can breathe. I mean, Greg mentioned it. I've been going nuts for Jermaine Johnson.
This has been a stressful 2 hours for your boy. This has been a stressful 2 hours.
Dude, almost every pick since like 13, I'm like, oh God, this is it. I'm going to hate this team forever. Just do it to me. Every single pick. And then once it went to the Patriots, oh God. I was like, that's it. He's going to the Patriots, going to ruin my life forever. Cowboys passed on him. Ravens got our boy Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, which was a need for them.
We got back in there, man. And then the Jaguars just traded up right behind us, too. So I'm glad that Joe Douglas made that move. Holy crap. The Titans is who we traded with, guys.
Yeah.
That's who is sitting at 26.
Yep.
God. Whew. I mean, we're a little bit off the rails right now, but my day's absolutely made. We got the Jets' number 1 corner. No matter. Okay, really quick. Why I was freaking out so much about Gardner, right? Is because our death scenario on every single mock draft we had was all of a sudden we're sitting at 10 and our guy isn't there. And it's like, damn, dude, we could have had him earlier, right? So now we were able to get Garret Wilson at 10. And let's sit here for a second because I know all of us. I know, Alex. I know all of us today were really for the last month and a half. We're just not about this trading the number 10 for a wide receiver. Right? We just weren't about it, us three.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not speak for the masses. I know the masses would have traded every single pick we've ever owned for a wide
picks
receiver.
we don't have, picks we do have.
Yeah, exactly. We had a pick today for a pick we didn't even have. That's right. I forgot about that. It feels like last century.
Yeah.
Yo, can we sidetrack off of that for a hot second? Yo,
Yeah.
I love how oh my god,
This is the best day
if
of my
you're
life.
gonna
You can do
tweet,
whatever you want.
yo, if you're gonna tweet fake like trade proposals, can you at least get the picks right? We have this guy, and I'm throwing his name out there. There's Vincent Frank. I don't even know where you working at, bro.
Sounds like
you're
how you
check
gonna
mark.
trust a guy with 2 first names, bro?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you can't.
Not that
Managing
bad.
editor at Sportsnot.
Take it easy. It's not that bad.
Managing editor at Sportsnot, contributor to Forbes. Come on. Like you're gonna tweet the Jets offered the 10th, 35th, 99th, 2023 second and Elijah Moore for the 49ers, and they're waiting, and then we don't even have the 99th, and then you follow up on a thread saying Moore is the holdup.
Yeah.
Son,
Makes no
stop.
sense.
Stop the cloud chasing. If I need Raisi already knows what the cloud chasing is. He put this one on the Richter scale, probably like at 50. Because it's ridiculous.
Dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
things wrong.
that
Not
guy's
even tweeting
making,
sense.
he's making the new Friday Night Jets song, probably. For Mr. Vincent Frank, join our boy
my God.
Rudolph with the Knicks takes. But dude,
Bro,
we can breathe. We can breathe now.
I was, you know what? And here's the thing, because we've had conversations. This is going all over the place right now because this is legit live reaction. You know, we found out this, like you just heard. I broke the trade while we were recording. We didn't even know this was happening, but we were feeling. I felt it, man. I felt it in my bones. I felt it in my bones.
I didn't even want to do this,
bro. I felt this.
Watch Jermaine Johnson.
I felt this. I felt this in my bones. People were like, "Are we going to trade up?" I was like, "I'm actually feeling that we're going to trade up." Because the way it was looking, I was like, these teams don't need Jermaine Johnson. We need him more than anyone else on these teams. They kept falling and falling and falling, and we have the assets to do so. And you don't need to waste everyone. Just try to take that gamble on the next day. So it is just amazing. We had conversations where we were just like, we don't see wide receivers in the top 10. At this point, I don't even care because you got a solid wide receiver. He's going to be good. Let me get this clear.
Let's talk.
Let's do this because we had on this conversation. And I feel like I was leading the whole chart saying I don't see one of these guys as a top 10 wide receiver, and I'll own it. I didn't see the Jets drafting a top 10 because there's so much talk about wanting an impact player right now. I think Garret Wilson will be good. Do not get me wrong. But the conversations that we had were, is he going to make an impact this season? I still don't think he'll make a massive impact this season. He'll have games. He's going to have games. He's going to have his rookie mistakes. You watch film. Obviously, it's like, okay, he's got talent. He can catch the ball at its apex. He can catch 50-50. He can do all those things. Solid route runner. He's going to need another season before he fully gets everything like under his belt. He'll be able to contribute this season, but I'm not expecting a lot. He's not going to be that impact player that was rumored, but I like the pick. I was a little disappointed because I was like, we need defensive end help. But now that it's turned out this way, A+ draft. My God. I don't even know how. As a Jets fan, I've never felt so optimistic. I am more optimistic than John is on a constant basis.
I don't know.
Beat that, man.
I don't know, dude. Jermaine Johnson like really changed. Like just now, like what is it, like 10:58? Everything just changed.
No, it's 11 p.m. right now. It's 11 p.m. right now.
No, but I'm saying like when the trade dropped,
it happened,
because honestly, at this point, Alex, like you had it really on the head. I didn't even want to do this podcast until the draft was over, because as Craig pointed out, I'm literally staring at Jermaine Johnson, following every single minute. I'm like, I know they're gonna come back here. I know they're gonna come back. I can't start this draft podcast reaction until I react to Jermaine Johnson being picked, right? So that changes everything, man. We had not only us, the pundits, the media people, the draft experts, all the mock people had us Jermaine Johnson not even falling to 10, right? Like we had to trade up from 10 to go get him. And so it was going to be Gardner and Jermaine Johnson, and then we'll see what happens later. Okay. So the fact that we were able to grab Jermaine Johnson later Sauce Gardner first, still the top cornerback, and grab a wide receiver, just a wide receiver at 10, that makes me happy. But now let's talk about Garret Wilson, man. Let's talk about him for 1 second, right? You mentioned some of his stats that they brought up today, right? My whole issue. Well, there's one thing, of course, with Garret Wilson. If anyone knows me, he's from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay, from Ohio State. Devin Smith on my mind, right? I know there's good wide receivers. Tell me Chris Carter, tell me all these things. Great, but
Michael Thomas is also from Ohio State. Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that sounds good. He's hyped about Chris Olave, though, right? I don't know why he's hyped about him. I didn't say anything about Garret Wilson. I'm just saying. But for the most part, Garret Wilson is not, and I repeat, he is not the number one wide receiver. Right. So that was the whole thing here. The whole thing was the Jets need a number one to complement Corey Davis, and then Elijah Moore can chill. And then Braxton Berrios does his third down conversion stuff, and the two tight ends kind of close that out. He's not going to be that guy. To be honest with you, I think we just replaced Jameson Crowder, which is fantastic. Like if he can be Jameson Crowder,
I think it's more than that.
I hope so, right? Because he jumps high, right? That's his whole thing. But he's fast. He catches the ball and he does his screens. He's more of an Elijah Moore, Jameson Crowder type. That's just his type. He's not the number one outside guy. He's just not. So I'm hyped about Garret Wilson. I know I don't want to come off as a hater right now for Garret Wilson. I like him. I'm excited. I'm gonna be screaming Wilson to Wilson just like everyone else, right? At MetLife. I promise. However, I'm not excited to the point where I think we have our number one wide receiver. Like right now, if we trade for a wide receiver, I'm not going to be pissed. I don't know where exactly we'd put him, but maybe this means that Corey Davis is really on the line because we can get rid of him after this year.
Yes. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because that's where I think if you want to replace somebody, Garret Wilson would replace Corey Davis. If somewhere down the line, you want somebody who's a big bot, who can become a big body, grab throws up top, climb the ladder like Corey Davis can. That's that guy. That's what Garret Wilson could do. I think we have our number one wide receiver on the team. I think it's Elijah Moore. You know how big I am on Elijah Moore. I think the dude could be like the next Antonio Brown, because I think I see it because in the route running. Okay. He has that separation. He has the route running. He can play anywhere on the field, inside, outside, in the slot, wherever. You can legitimately move him around anywhere you want. The dude has just incredible route running and has strong hands and is able to catch through contact. I think we have it right there on the team. Is he ready to be that is the question. I think when the Jets are looking for we need our number one wide receiver, I think the thought process was more so going towards just being over the top. You know what I mean? Like if you have someone like a DK Metcalf with Elijah Moore and Corey Davis, that's an over the top wide receiver core, or even an AJ Brown. That's over the top.
Dude,
I think that's a lot.
I don't want to hear that name right now. We'll get to the AJ
dude. That was so irritating.
We'll get to it later.
I'm like I said, I'm happy with Garret Wilson. He's going to. He will be. He's not. He's going to be a good player. I get it. He's going to be a good player. Is he going to be the impact that the Jets are looking for this season? No. Next season, you're going to see him more established in this offensive role. But to see AJ Brown go for the 18th pick.
Not get to it later. Yeah, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it.
Dude, I'm just saying, bro.
I know.
Did the Jets even get on the phone? Did they even call the Jets for the 10th pick? That's all I want to know.
For the 10th pick? I hope not, bro.
I think they might have called. I think we might have said no.
57 mil, bro. No way. Dude, that's why I'm okay with Garret Wilson. I want to hear your take, Greg, because I know you were all over the Jets need to get LaFleur guys, right? Just get guys that fit the system, right? And Garret Wilson and Trey Burks, who I was screaming about, they both fit that system. So what do you got on Garret Wilson, man?
Yeah, my biggest problem with taking a wide receiver at 10 was with the 10th overall pick, you need someone that's going to step on the field day one and play. And with Mike LaFleur's system, I just didn't know what we were doing. Are we going back to a 2 tight end set? And if so, we only have 2 wide receivers out there, and that's obviously Elijah Moore and Corey Davis. So why would we draft someone who's not going to be on the field? Obviously, down the line, I think he takes over for Corey Davis. Maybe we don't go to a 2 tight end set. We stick with a 1 tight end set, and then therefore we do have 3 wide receivers out there. To me, the need for a true number 1 wide receiver was to go opposite Corey Davis this year, and then Elijah Moore in his second year. Yes, he improved last year over the course of the season, but this way he doesn't have to come out, and we don't have to rely on him day one because he is just entering his second season. That was, I think, the need for a veteran wide receiver. At this point now, I'm happy with the pick because we got our edge rusher, Jermaine Johnson. We established or addressed our need at cornerback. But that was my problem with 10. It wasn't anything really about Garret Wilson. It was just like, is a wide receiver going to play 80% of the snaps for us? Because if not, maybe there's a line, someone else out there that will be playing more than 80% of the snaps. So that was really my issue. That was why I was thinking if we could trade back, take someone in the 15, 16 spot. But as we saw with the run on wide receivers, there might not have been someone at 15, 16 because we started it at 10, and then there was a run of 5 or 6 picks where it seemed like a wide receiver was going every other pick or every pick.
And they had to know that Jermaine Johnson was dropping.
Yeah, they could have had that feeling. I mean, like the one report said, or the one tweet that we talked about earlier, saying that, I don't know if it was before we started recording or while we were recording, about how like the media was just overhyping Jermaine Johnson. Maybe they thought that too, and so they knew he wasn't going to be a top 10 pick, a top 15 pick. So there's an opportunity for him. I just wanted to talk real quick, if you could bring up the trade package that we traded again, just to go over that real quick for Jermaine Johnson, or if we want to save that and talk about Jermaine Johnson as his own segment, because I'm interested if it was a second and a fourth, and then a later pick that we traded.
Let's save that for another. Let's save that for its own segment. I just want to finish up on the wide receiver talk, because to get to your point, Greg, we're honestly, like, if the Jets were looking for a wide receiver, they wanted to trade back. How far are you trading back? Because you saw Drake London went to the Falcons, which that's just interesting in my opinion. Like, we all knew the Falcons need to add wide receiver help. They're just down bad right now. We don't need to go too deep into that. But outside of that, you're not getting Garret Wilson after the 10th, because as we saw right after us, Saints take Chris Olave. And then right after that, Lions take Jamison Williams. You know what I mean? And then not too far down, the Commanders take Jahan Dotson. So Garret Wilson is going somewhere. And unless you like one of these other guys,
huge shock.
You're not getting that option. You're not getting that option. And what you're getting, as we already talked about, is a guy who's going to, he's good. He's pretty shifty. He's not elite shifty. Grabs you the 50-50 ball, right? You look at his college stats, his junior year at Ohio State, caught 70 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 1058 to be exact, averaged 15 yards per catch, 12 TDs. The kid's got talent.
Yeah,
kid's got talent.
And that's the thing too, is like, if we liked Wilson, obviously I think Wilson's the best wide receiver in this draft. So,
it's between him and Williams, no?
I think so, but the problem is, like I was saying,
or Drake London,
our group chat earlier. But the problem is with those three, it's those three, right? It's Drake London, Wilson, and Williams. The problem is that Wilson's the only one that's healthy, so that's where he takes the extra step for me as being the best wide receiver right now available. Because week one, barring injury in the preseason, he's ready to go. Where these other guys, you don't know if they're gonna be ready week one.
For sure. And then the thing that was kind of iffy on Wilson is, like, even Connor Hughes wrote it in The Athletic, is that he was, as John already pointed out, he's pretty similar to Elijah Moore, where he have on this roster, right? So that's why it was kind of confusing. But if you want someone who's going to fit into the LaFleur system,
we got a type.
There's a type. And look, even San Fran, like, you look at San Fran, there's a certain type of wide receiver. Only Deebo Samuel, like, was that complete package that anyone wanted. Or I should say, not that anyone wanted, but that complete package on that team.
That they wanted, yeah.
But you look at then Drake London. I wasn't too, I watched Drake London. I wasn't too impressed by him in the sense that he's not elite fast. He's just tall. He's tall. Like, honestly, when I watch Drake London, he gives me like that kind of like Plaxico Burress vibes. He's just big. He'll go up for the catch, long body, solid route runner, which would have been an interesting dynamic on this team, but I don't think that's kind of what LaFleur wants. He likes quick guys that can get open to space, and I didn't really see that with London. It didn't seem like he had the shiftiness and just a technician just to like break guys down out of the route and getting into their route tree. That's why I think Wilson, even though it's redundant to Elijah Moore, as John has pointed out, as Connor Hughes has written about, I think it just made the best sense, and he stays on the field. So solid pick overall. But let's get into the Jermaine Johnson, because we can talk about Sauce Gardner.
Yeah,
No.
You want to talk about Sauce?
No. Hold on. So, well, before we leave the wide receiver stuff, let's hit on the trades that you mentioned. Right, we talked extensively about the Deebo Samuel 10th pick. Apparently, came out today from a real source that we offered it and they declined. Right, and I think we were getting back a third rounder, so it would have been like around value of a 13th pick. And now, Greg, right? I know this is driving you nuts, and Alex, you were gonna kill me when this happened, right? AJ Brown got traded to the Eagles for, I was even talking to my brother about it. The value was $996 on the chart that everyone uses, as opposed to like the 1300, or the 1060 was the 10th pick, but the 1300, let's say 1,000 to 1,300 that we were offering. Plus, AJ Brown got 57 mil. So my question to you guys, guaranteed, right? That's what really matters in the NFL.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys, I know you were pissed, Alex. Are you pissed? Like, and Greg, you could talk after that. Are you pissed about the AJ Brown trade, and are you mad that the Jets didn't do it, or are you like, man, I don't want to trade all that for a wide receiver? And by the way, because the trade was made today and it wasn't dealt with yesterday, there is no physical. It's just a straight trade. And we know AJ Brown had some trouble. I'm sure it's not that big of an issue, but it's something for these NFL teams. They can't stare at their guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my thing is that when you look at the trade, right, the Eagles traded the 18th pick, a third round pick, and Treylon Burks to get AJ Brown, right? That's essentially the deal.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at that, and I'm hearing what we offered for Tyreek Hill and what the rumors are out there, and seeing all that stuff, like we offer the 10th for Deebo Samuel. It's AJ Brown, bro. It's AJ Brown. And I think that's what really bothers me more. Not the fact that we didn't get him, but the fact that we offered a 10th rounder for Deebo Samuel. And I don't even know if we offered the 10th round for AJ Brown. Like,
I don't think we did. I don't think we should.
I don't even care.
Deebo wants more money. He wanted almost $30 million more. That's insane. That's literally
my thing
insane,
is,
bro.
But we're talking about the talent. At the end of the
injured.
day,
They're both injury. They're both injury guys. And I love AJ Brown. Trust me, I love him more than anything. But I wasn't upset.
I'm not upset that I'm not upset that we didn't trade for him. I'm not upset that I understand that's a lot. But you're telling me between the two, you're going to offer the 10th for Deebo Samuel and not AJ Brown. That's really more my agitation is. That's it. I don't care that we did. Like, it's fine that we didn't do it. It's fine that we're going through the draft, which is what Joe Douglas has been preaching. He's staying true to it, right? He's at least staying true to what he's been preaching. He's not going to overvalue anybody, even it's a premium position. It has to meet that intersection, right? Where it's like the value and the return for the position makes sense. I don't agree with how much AJ Brown's getting. But when I look at the fact that we offered a 10th rounder for Deebo Samuel, a guy who's legitimately injury prone, and like his production comes out of gadgetry, where you're asking for like a legitimate. Yes, I understand that he hates. I understand that he hates.
Like, he's gonna come into the
he
same
hates
exact
it,
thing.
but he hates it, but yet he wants the money to be valued for that. He does both. So if you hate it, and you just don't want to do that. It makes no sense to me. That's why it's even more irritating, is that you want to give the 10th round for a guy who doesn't even want to do the full work of what he can do. And we're not going to give it to like a true wide receiver who's a body, like a legit, like brick house, right? Like he's a legit wall. Like it's tough to tackle AJ Brown when he's fully healthy. That's just my irritation with it. I'm happy we didn't make the trade, because for 110 mil that AJ Brown is getting that contract, right? 110 somewhere around there. And you give up all that. That's a lot, man. That's insanity. I don't agree with it. I know they need to. I know they got to get their boy out in Philly, QB some help. Why is his name off the tip of my tongue? Whatever. But I know they're trying to get him some help. So that's
Jalen
fine.
Hurts.
That's what they want to do.
Yeah, that's
Jalen
fine.
Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, and they picked up Treylon Burks, which he's, again, we mentioned it's the same system. AJ Brown, Debo, LaFleur, like it's all the same. So Treylon Burks is going to fit perfect in the Titans, but the Titans, their locker room's pissed. And Trey Lance out here, speaking of people that are pissed, he's commenting on Tony Jefferson today. Tony Jefferson tweeted, I see Debo Samuel going to the Jets by the end of today, and Trey Lance is tweeting, bro, stop. You know what I mean? So you can tell that these locker rooms like these guys. So it is really interesting. Greg, what do you got on this AJ Brown, Debo Samuel stuff?
I think to the Alex talking about the different, why did we offer the 10 for Debo and not the 10 for AJ? I think it comes down to two things. I think it's total production for Debo's been higher and is higher just because he gives you the rushing along with the passing. So, I mean, I think last year he had just under 1,800 total purpose scrimmage yards. I mean, that's insanity. So that's one of the reasons why you might be willing to trade a 10 for him and not A.J. Brown. The other two is just familiarity with the system and the guy. You just know, we have so much of the San Francisco staff on our team. We just know who Debo Samuel is. So maybe we're just more comfortable with bringing him in because we know he's going to adjust well to our system, or he's a good fit for our culture and our locker room, where maybe we don't know so much about A.J. Brown. So I think that's the two reasons. That's
my
really
man.
it.
AJ Brown did work with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. So some people think Ryan Tannehill's a top 10 quarterback. So, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I know,
but the other thing, to your point about, am I happy? Or whatever the question was about AJ Brown, should we trade for him? At this point, I think I just trust Joe Douglas. If you look at what we got our wide receiver, and we still have a second-round pick. If we were going to trade for A.J. Brown, it would have been both of our second-round picks. If we were to trade for Debo Samuel, it either would have been both our second-round picks, a third-round pick, or it would have been our 10th overall pick. Somehow we ended up at the end of today with a wide receiver, our edge rusher.
Our number one wide receiver, our number one edge rusher.
Yeah.
Number one wide receiver.
And our number one cornerback.
It's ours. Who's our number one wide receiver, and he was our number one cornerback.
I see what you're saying. I think you meant the schematic.
On our board.
Yes.
No, for the Jets. The only thing we did was skip on our number one right tackle.
Yeah, and we still have a second round pick tomorrow, where we wouldn't have if we traded for Debo or AJ Brown.
And I think Becton is now going to be our starting right tackle. I think he's going to go back to what he was in college. Font, we mentioned interestingly right before the draft, talking about how he's talking extension with the Jets, and he refuses to not play left tackle. So, that was why I also really thought we were going to get Ikem and get rid of Becton. I'm glad that Becton's staying. I'm glad that he's going to be our right tackle. And him and Elijah Vera Tucker on the right, we were joking around, them on the left, they just moved to the right, both of them, right? Tomlinson's going to be the left guard now, and with Font. So you got the veterans on the left and the young guys on the right. And I think it's going to be beautiful, honestly. I know that you're hurting a little bit, Greg, because Linderbaum won in the first round. We're hoping to maybe snag him in the second round, even swap for McGovern. But McGovern will be fine at center.
Yeah.
I have no complaints here, man, about this wide receiver stuff. We're keeping our picks. But speaking of keeping our picks, we did make a trade, right? We were a little hyped when it first happened in the beginning of this episode. But the trade details are 26. They turned up to the 26. And we got, so the terms, a 26 and a 101 for the 35, the 69, and the 163. Okay, so the 163 is a fifth round pick, one of our fifths. So that's really nothing. I know the 69 pick, Connor Hughes, our boy, he's going to be upset by it. But I don't think it's a big deal. That is our first pick in the third round.
Yep.
And that's it, man. And that's all we needed to do to get Jermaine Johnson. Really funny. We got a tweet here from Connor Hughes saying that the Jets told Jermaine Johnson that if he's there, we're going to come up and get him in the draft. I mean, I love that. Because that just dispels
2 years in a row, man.
As soon as Jermaine Johnson got picked by the Jets, it's like clockwork, bro. Ross Tucker, other people. Oh, there must have been something wrong with him. Oh, there must have been something wrong with it. No, dude. The Jets literally told the guy, hey, we have a feeling you're going to drop. And if it happens, we're going to trade up for you. And it's exactly what happened. Maybe just Joe Douglas is a good GM. Maybe Maybe he can get his top guys. Maybe he projects good enough, to see where everybody's going, right? Like we traded up for Vera Tucker last year because we knew that he was going to be there, right? Mekhi Becton was the number one guy on our board. Elijah Moore, we knew that they say that we were so happy that he was going to be there, but we projected for him to be there. We didn't need to trade up for him. I mean, the guy could draft. Like that's all I'm going to say here. So I want to get your real thoughts.
And that's the big thing, man.
Johnson, guys. Yeah. Like I know we're hyped, but I want your real thoughts on this.
I mean, my real thoughts are what we trade a second and a third for him. And
we traded the fifth.
Yeah, second, third, and fifth. And that second and third that we got was Sam Darnold, right?
Well, one of them was Sam Darnold, yep.
So the way my dumb brain works is like we trade Sam Darnold for Jermaine Johnson. That's a deal. I'll take that 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, and we got back a late third.
Okay.
The 101 is a late third.
So we still can get a linebacker there. We can still get some lineman help, some depth there if there's someone there that we love. I saw Cole Strange went to New England.
Yeah.
That's surprising. So,
I mean, he was one of those really good guys from the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
All these Senior Bowl guys, like really quick, like my rapid reaction brain, like Zion Johnson jumped up really high because of Senior Bowl. Jermaine Johnson jumped up really high because of the Senior Bowl. I'm so happy Christian Watson didn't get drafted in the first round because that was the one guy who jumped up crazy. But Cole Strange, another guy jumped up. Penning, another guy jumped up in the Senior Bowl. All these guys, man. I think Chad Muma really jumped up too. He's gonna be in the high second round. So I'm really excited, dude, about the Jets coaching this Senior Bowl. Right? I know we kind of poo-pooed it, but dude, look at the draft. Like it makes a huge difference. So again, I am so happy that the Jets got their number one corner. They got their number one wide receiver, and they got Jermaine Johnson, who they say is their number one defensive end. He was my number one defensive end. I know Walker and Hutchinson are good, but Jermaine Johnson, he left Georgia, which is obviously going to go to the championship because their D-line was so good. He literally left the team because he did the anti-Kevin Durant. He was like, yo, this team is so good that I don't want to be on this team anymore because everyone's going to think I'm just a product of the system. So before they win, even though, Georgia won a national championship, bro, that must sting a little bit, right? He went to Florida State, which they stink, got 12 and a half sacks. Like he won every record in the ACC. I mean, what else do you want from the guy? So I'm so happy the Jets loved him. Shout out to Leger Douzable, dude. He's the one that really put me on to Jermaine Johnson from day one of this stuff. And that's why I was like, all right, I got to watch tape. I got to read up on him. I'm jumping into his Jet spaces. Like he had me today. I feel like it was just me and him crying about Jermaine Johnson almost every 3 picks. And once we got him, he's like tweeting, can't wait to walk around the streets. And so I could just say, man, I am elated that we drafted Jermaine Johnson. And that really sums up the whole draft for me. I would be upset if we ended up with Gardner, who's good, and then Garret Wilson, who's meh. To be honest, Yeah. And then we're not going to really get an edge rusher in the second round. We're going to get some Jones and Muma.
And I would have been upset. Nice. And that's the thing. That's what made people were already saying it's an A+ draft with Garret Wilson and Ahmad Gardner. Like it wouldn't have been A+. It would have been a good draft. It wouldn't have been because
B-.
B. I'll give it B. But the reason is it comes down to we needed an edge rusher. We lost Carl Lawson. We couldn't put pressure on the quarterback.
He coming back, son.
We couldn't put pressure on the quarterback, and you were going to be okay if we left this draft with a lot of talent at edge rushing, and you're going to be okay with that and say we got A+? No, we needed an edge rusher, and now we got it. So that's where we got almost everything. Like we can still address the O-line in the second round if we really wanted to. It's not going to be. It wouldn't be like.
About it. You want to talk about that for real quick about the second round?
Yeah, but let me just say something on Jermaine Johnson. 11 and a half sacks, by the way. You gave him one extra.
I'm sorry.
And by the way, on that point, John, I think that was smart by him because a lot of the knocks on the Georgia guys, if you're watching any of the pre-draft coverage during the draft, is he didn't have a ton of production. So I think by going to Florida State and then getting 11 and a half stacks, where these Georgia guys are like, oh, he only had 3.5 sacks, or oh, he only had 4.5 sacks, or only had 12.
Poor Nakobe Dean, bro.
Yeah, look at Nakobe Dean.
That's the thing. Like if you look at those 2 years, he had 1.5 sacks, five sacks.
Yeah,
he's still a beast.
Yeah, all these
guys he's still good.
All these guys,
but the fact that he goes to Florida State
next to you, the number one pick, it's tough to get a bunch of sacks. Like it's tough.
Yeah,
The
no,
fact he goes to Florida State, gets 11.5, you know,
I think it's very
Dude,
smart.
that's
Wyatt-
just impressive.
Wyatt was a guy who I was hoping that who's going to fall to the second round for the Jets, and he just got picked in the first round. Another guy, another D lineman on Georgia. So 2 wide receivers from Ohio State. We grabbed one of them. I don't know. Do we count this as a Georgia defensive lineman? I feel like he is, right? He's still boys with all of them. They're all laughing about it pre-draft.
Oh, Jermaine
So I'm
Johnson,
really,
yeah.
yeah, I'm really hyped that Jermaine Johnson is now with us. And dude, the number one thing about Joe Douglas was he gave himself flexibility in free agency to be able to do this, right? Like, let's rewind for 2 seconds. The fact that he got Reed, the fact that he got Whitehead at safety, right? That stuff, the fact that he even, like, I know it's silly, but he re-signed Berrios, grabbed the 2 tight ends. Now we're not desperate for a tight end. We weren't desperate for a wide receiver, right? Because if it's just Corey
Brought in
Davis,
the guard, so we didn't need to draft the offensive lineman right off the top.
like we're so set up, man. We didn't cut McGovern like everyone wanted to the day, the day after the season ended, where and
It was always GVR, man. It was always GVR. It was never McGovern. It was always GVR.
That's facts. That's a fact. And that stuff gives us the flexibility. I've been screaming that we have the most draft assets since 91. Rich Cimini said today it was the first time, I think, since the 80s that a top 10 cornerback and wide receiver were picked by the same team. Another reason that I really just didn't think we were going to do that. Like we set records today. But dude, like, this is the flexibility. Like, okay, you guys could chill. We got our cornerback. He's lined up with Reed now, who we signed. We got a safety. Hall is now our 3rd cornerback, guys. He's literally our number 3 cornerback.
Yeah,
and now
that's
we have
the thing, right?
Two slots, Eccles and
let's get into
Carter.
this because we just went completely over our first pick. We completely went over our first pick in Ahmad Sauce Gardner. It was guaranteed, but can we talk about how DJ Bieniemy sends out a tweet saying, as long as the Jets draft Sauce Gardner, he doesn't care what they do for the rest of the draft. I want to know what that piece is going to look like because he's probably going to be stoked after how this is all played out.
I'll be out in the morning.
He even said I didn't even have a write up ready for Garret Wilson because I did not. And he's like laughing his ass off because he didn't think he was going to drop that far. So I can't wait to read this piece. And then we get Jermaine Johnson. This thing is going wild, man. But Sauce Gardner, we talked about it. On this pod, we talked about Sauce Gardner. We talked about Jermaine Johnson. I don't even though Garret Wilson was up there on our pod, I don't think we saw that as a legit reality where we're going to get all 3 of these guys. Like, we're just like, all right, 10, this, just because it's so hard to figure out trades. But the fact, and what I was going to say is that first tweet that he tweeted, Darrelle Revis liked it, by the way. He liked that first tweet.
He's actually calling our 2nd round pick tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
Everyone was like, or today when you're listening, and then was like, it has to be a cornerback. I promise you one thing. It's not going to be a cornerback. I promise you.
The thing is, so
many cornerbacks, dude. It's
and nuts. I'm not saying Sauce Gardner is going to be the next Darrelle Revis, but that's a legitimate number 1.
Well, he better be Cromartie, bro. I'm so sick of this. He better be Cromartie. If after all this, he's not Cromartie, I'm gonna be pissed off. He better be Antonio Cromartie, and he has a system, right? We were talking about it literally last episode on the Winning Picks Weekly, right? The Jets are trying to adopt the Richard Sherman cornerback defense, right? Where it's like, yo, you just chill here. You don't have to follow the receiver, and we're just going to block off, right? That's what you said, Greg. You want to just block off a zone. And I think that Reed can block off a zone, and I think that Hall can block off a zone, and Gardner better block off a zone, okay? We haven't seen him yet, but he better do it. But, dude, we have the 6th pick in the 2nd round. That's unbelievable. That stat right there is like that's to your point, Greg, about why the hell would we trade? We have the 6th pick in the 2nd round right now. I feel like we're done. I promise you, I feel like we're done, dude.
Like if we ended the draft right now, I would be like, all right, cool, great draft, guys.
Like, 3, like is that not like equating anyone's brain? Like we had 3 first-round picks, but we have the 6th pick of the 2nd round, and we're still good. Like we still have other picks. Bananas, like that's bananas to me. I didn't even see the last couple of picks here, so I'm gonna review those real quick before I talk about who I want for number 6. But do you guys have any? If you have any more final thoughts on the Jets, let me know. But do you guys have any thoughts outside the trades because we know it was a trading frenzy. Outside, and if you have any thoughts on the Jets, please let me know, and the fans know. But I also want to know, just in general, like, did you have any crazy thoughts about this draft? Like, what really blew your mind in the first, 24 picks that we're watching?
I guess just to tie up on Sauce Gardner, to put my thoughts in there. I'm confident he's going to be a solid cornerback. The height, he's 6'2", 190 pounds. He's got the length, got the speed. What do you ran, like a 4.3, 4.4 in the 40? Kid can move. I think, there's already talk that he can be Sherman, but better when he's fully developed. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I mean, you don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. He has 33.5-inch long arms, too, which is like the second longest, tied for the longest in the whole entire class. Like, dude, the dude is long and he is fast. Ooh, I just hope.
Look, he had 3 sacks. He had 3 sacks in college.
Yep.
28, close to 30 tackles as a corner. You like to see that as solo tackles.
Yo, guys, so, I got a tweet from Chandler Jones. Want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
Many teams will regret not getting Jermaine Johnson. That kid's gonna be good. Chandler Jones hates us. Literally, hates our guts. Oh, God.
Dude,
Let's
Joe
go.
Douglas knows what he's doing.
Let's go.
Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. Hey, look, we've been saying it. The process for him has been drafting, some work through free agency.
Jermaine Johnson. I don't even know what to do with myself. I am so damn at George Karlafakis, whatever. I can't even say his last name at the moment. Yep. He just got picked. We would be stuck with nobody tomorrow, man. Nobody. Oh my God, dude.
I was gonna say, for me, I was hoping that we get a safety, but literally the draft just ended as Daxton.
I legit thought Kansas City was gonna take him. I thought Kansas City was gonna take him at 21. Not gonna lie. I thought Kansas City was going to take Jermaine Johnson at 21.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, ever since I think 14, 15, after Zion Johnson went to the Chargers, almost every single pick I thought was going to be Jermaine Johnson. I'm not even lying.
Let's talk about this trade, though, because this trade also shocked me. Hollywood Brown being traded to the Cardinals. That's actually shocking. Now you get Hollywood Brown back with his boy out in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's why it's not shocking to me. That tidbit, that's why. Because Colin Murray's all upset. And what do you do when players are upset? You get them their friends.
What's shocking to me is that
it's just interesting because what wide receiver? Because that was their best wide receiver in my eyes for the Ravens. So now what are you doing? Who are you helping? You take Kyle Hamilton, good pick. You want to talk about like. You had Ed Reed, and now you get another solid safety. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Ed Reed, but you're filling up a safety hole that you had. But you give up your weapons. But you give up your quarterback's weapon. What? That's kind of what's shocking to me.
I agree with you 100%, Alex. That's the part that's shocking to me. Like, I thought going into this draft, they needed to draft a wide receiver, and then they turn around and they trade a wide receiver.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was just like, what's going on right now? Like, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. And that was his boy, too. He loves Hollywood Brown.
Well, of course. He's the only wide receiver on the team. Of course he loves him.
They drafted Bateman.
Yeah.
And you have you have Mark Andrews, but you can't count on Mark Andrews to be fully healthy all the time. So it's like, it was Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. Now it's just Mark Andrews. Yeah. You got the Gus Bus out there, too, I guess.
And they helped Lamar Jackson because they traded Hollywood Brown and they ended up drafting Tyler Linderbaum. So it's like, all right, we got you a center that can play this system for the next 10 years.
You know, it's so classic. Like, we got Joe Douglas, right? He has, like, the Ravens background. And everyone talks about how the Ravens, GM, Ozzie, the best in the business. And they got the two guys everyone made fun of me, early draft for liking, right? They got Kyle Hamilton. They got Linderbaum. Everyone's like, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. Why would you want these guys? You're no value. And then you get it tomorrow. Everyone's going to tell me that the Ravens are the best team ever in draft history. So, like,
A- draft grade.
Every year,
you got
them the best.
Hey, John says it. Ravens got your boy J.K. Dobbins, right?
J.K. Dobbins, no, my boy Gus Edwards, bro, top of high school. Shout out. Let's go. But yeah, dude. So
you got the Gus Bus, you got J.K. Dobbins, and then the wide receiver is Devin Duvernay, Rashad Bateman,
and
I love
James
Proche.
And the Giants are dummies for taking Tony over Bateman. And when I said that, oh, how stupid are the Giants for taking Tony over Bateman? Everyone screamed at me, oh, stick to your Jets. Oh.
So do they actually have a wide receiver then?
Now they want to trade him. Idiots. I hate
We'll
it.
get this depth chart. Do they actually have wide receivers in that they're okay with? Or do you still think that's a lot to give up?
I think Christian Watson's going to be on the Ravens tomorrow.
You got to do something.
You were interested in how in the trade value, huh?
Yeah, well, what was it? I was saying tomorrow I have to go through the trade value chart and look at all of these trades. Dude, there's so many trades. Like looking at ESPN, if you look at the first round, they have the little icon next to if the pick was traded. It's just icon. Like from the ninth pick on, it is just trades galore. Like,
it might be the most exciting.
Did the Jaguars give up too much to move back into the first round and get Devin Lloyd? I don't know. I haven't looked at the chart yet, but Devin Lloyd's a great player, and they need defensive guys. I mean, that defense is shaping up.
Well, let me ask you guys this question: do you think that all these trades are indicative of the draft class? Like how strong it is, how weak it is, more so on the weak side. If you're doing all these trades, is that what you were thinking?
I think it's just indicative of the new NFL. Like you were talking a little bit earlier about like the Jets getting Wilson, and he's kind of like an Elijah Moore. And I'm like thinking in my head, it's like kind of like almost like to me, I look at it like basketball now, where it's like positionless basketball. It's like we're going into this weird NFL where it's positionless linebacker, safety, cornerback players. Positionless, like with the number one pick tonight, like Walker or whatever. He's like a positionless edge rusher, interior lineman, linebacker, like a weird guy. And then with us, with Wilson and Moore, it's like we got positionless wide receivers. Like the only thing that's better to me than one Elijah Moore is having two Elijah Moores. So I'm fine that we got an Elijah Moore copycat.
Facts.
So
that's a good point.
So that's where I think it's just kind of this new age NFL. I think the new age NFL when it comes to the draft is you see it with the Rams. Everyone's pointing to it. It's hard to do, but just trading away picks, and then as a circumstance of that, just a lot of trades because people are just moving around. They're trying to get the guys that they like. So I think you're going to see a lot more trades in the future. I also think we're gonna keep having these drafts where was there 8 teams without a first round pick. I think that's going to happen year in, year out. There's going to be 6-7 teams without a first-round pick because a good player now is worth 2 good guys later. So I think it's just the new age of football.
I love the comparison, right? Even Greenberg, Greeny, when he first started talking about how the NFL is really turning into the NBA draft and the NBA pageantry, right? We have Darren Rovell tweeting out Travis Scott shoes and their price on StockX. Like the Darren Rovell he is. Like, it's really turning into the NBA draft. Sauce is wearing these like chains, which is really NBA style more than NFL. NFL stuff like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be excited. Sounds good. And then you move on. Like you up until this year, they weren't even announcing trades. This is the first year they announced trades at the actual draft site. So it definitely is changing. And as the NBA is kind of transitioning into a sign and trade league, where they've encouraged teams to extend and then trade so there's no free agency. The NFL, the free agency has really blown up where you realize teams are just not willing to pay. Like Joe Douglas is not willing to pay $58 million and a 10th pick for a wide receiver. He's just not willing. And so if you're not willing to do that, that means you're willing to buy high on draft picks, but it's really buying low. Right, because you have the 4 or 5 years, especially if he's in the first round, and then you could franchise tag the hell out of him for 2 years and really screw him, and then that's it, 7 years out of a guy who you just got, for a pick, and you're paying him no money virtually, you know what I mean, or league capped or designated money, and so I think that's really the new age NFL here, where there's certain teams that are willing to spend, right? The Rams, for example, like the Tampa Bay, the teams who are right there,
the win now teams, yeah.
Or even the Eagles. The Eagles see, I know it sounds crazy, but the Eagles see their division. And they're like, yo, you know what I mean? Like we have one team waiting, the Giants waiting for next year for a quarterback. We have one team, the Commanders, that don't even have a team. And then the Cowboys stink. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're thinking, right? They're like, yo, we can win this division easy. So I do like a team like that. They're looking for now. And it's indicative of the Titans. Like think about the Titans for a second, right? They have a number one bona fide young wide receiver. They have him. His name is AJ Brown. They traded him for hopefully somebody that could beat AJ Brown and Trey Burks. But in the meantime, they're saving $60 million. You can guarantee they don't have to write a check into escrow tomorrow. You know what I mean? So they're hyped about that. So yeah, I really do. I believe in this new age NFL, and that's why we're able to mock draft these players and these teams, because we know how they operate, right? Like everyone's laughing. Oh, what are the Packers going to do? Are they going to take wide receiver? They don't draft wide receivers. They're just not going to do it. We know it.
You were asking about my biggest surprises. That's number one for me, looking at the first round.
Okay. I was about to ask that. I was about to follow up. Like, what are the biggest surprises in this draft at this point? Because all these trades, you know, we could just keep going. Like all these trades, right, are shocked. Personally, I'm kind of shocked that Kyle Hamilton dropped so far that he did. Because early on in the whole draft process, it was like, oh, he's a top 10. He's just a talent. You can't let this kid in. It's like, you know, John, Greg, we were talking about, it's like someone's going to drop. Like guys are going, it just happens
87
every
people
year.
were going in the top 10.
Yeah, no, it just happens. Who is dropping? I think I'm kind of shocked that Stingley went so early. I'm not going to lie. The Texans have a lot of needs. John, kudos to you, though. You called it.
Bro, Lovie Smith said it.
Like a week or so ago, yeah.
Like he literally like at some point there's smoke and then there's like, yo, I literally said the words, I love cornerbacks. I don't know what else to tell you. That's what Lovie Smith said.
Personally, I'm shocked that he actually kept true to his word. Kudos to him for I just find it dumb that you're legitimately a team that needs everything. And the first position you want to address is like, all right, son, we're going to be putting you out on an island every single day. Do we have a defensive line that can get to the quarterback? No. Do we have an offense that can stay on the field? No. So why am I being drafted right now? Because I like cornerbacks. And to me, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, did the Texans have a bad draft?
Did
the Texans have a bad draft? You do?
I think so. Because look, you know, later on they took Kenyon Green. You know, you take
that was my number one surprise. Kenyon Green going,
and this is why it's all surprising. This is legit why it's all surprising. You could have had Neil, you could have had Iggy, but you choose Kenyon Green?
Well, they're all gone. They're all gone.
But I'm saying but they had the third. But they had the three. Like, I don't think Stingley's going that high because of his injury history.
Listen, okay, the one thing, if he's not injured, if he turns into Chase, like if it's LSU just does this thing where they allow players to take the year off and, you know, get healthy for the NFL draft and become top 10 picks, how can you, what can you say?
Because look how it all played out. Let's look at the board, how it played out, right? After we could just make it a lock that Sauce Gardner was going at 4. We could just make it a lock there.
Sure.
That's who the Jets liked. Outside of that, did you see another cornerback being drafted until 21, Trent McDuffie? No. Yeah. Like the Texans legit probably could have gotten Derek Stingley at 15 and could have gotten a top O lineman.
So the smoke from the Texans was, and it kind of threw me off a little bit on my betting today, I'll be honest with you, is they said that they want to trade up from, what they have, the 14 originally, or the 13th originally, and they wanted to trade up. So I thought that they might try to catch Stingley on the back end and get Ikem at 3, which was my, you know, doomsday scenario that I had in my brain the whole time. Like they're going to take Ikem and then trade up give up something extra just to move up and make sure they hold Stingley, you know, at the 11, for example, with Washington. That's what I thought. So I agree with you. I do think Stingley was high, but I'm still not shocked. Does it shock you though that Gardner was the second pick, cornerback? I mean, I'm with you on that aspect, right? Like everybody's saying Gardner's the best, Gardner's this, he's the second cornerback pick. You know, it relieves me a little bit from the Okuda stuff, right? Because he's not the first cornerback pick; he's at least the second cornerback pick. That kind of helps me out. And Jermaine Johnson is not the second defensive end picked, which is like there's been like one good second defensive end picked in like the last 10 years. So I'm happy that they don't fall into any of these statistics, right? I'm mostly surprised by the Kenyon Green pick, the Texans, like you mentioned, which was from Philadelphia, and also the Dotson. He was supposed to be like a second, third round pick. Like I was hoping to grab him
first,
later.
early second, yeah.
But then Watson went from 6th to 2nd to top 10, and he fell out of the first. So is Watson like the number one guy right now that fell out? QB stuff's nonsense to me. McBride, okay, tight end. I bet it was like plus 500, so obviously not. The running back situation, no. Is Watson like the only hype guy that like really didn't fall? I mean, and of course, there's Nakobe Dean,
But also I'm a little bit surprised that Malik Willis didn't get drafted in the first
the quarterback
round.
stuff. Yeah,
Just
How
a
about
little
Kenny
bit.
Pickett that he fell to the Pittsburgh? Anyone shocked about that?
they put out
No.
smoke, right? That they love Willis, right? That was their whole thing all offseason. They love Willis. Tomlin's smiling at Willis in front of the camera. All these things. Yeah, so you're right. That's some smoke. All these things they keep registering in my brain, right? Like I'm a little upset with myself that I got off the Thibodeau to Giants stuff because I had all like for the first month and a half it was the Giants are going to get Neal and Tibbs. Those are the most Giants picks of all time. And then I thought it was going to be Gardner and Neal.
Guess what they did?
But I moved off. I moved off at the end because I was like, yo, you know what? It's going to be Gardner and Neal or Gardner and Cross. Or if I was them, like Greg mentioned, where you're sitting there with Cross and Neal, you know that Carolina is not going to take another cornerback, especially after they just got Jace Horn. I thought maybe they go that route. But, you know, they got their guy in Tibbs. He's quite a character. Like watching his interviews, he's plugging stuff in. He was saying that he only talked to the
Tom
Lions.
Thibodeau has always been a character. I mean, the way he addresses. Oh, we're talking about Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a classic, man. I'm happy that there's no extra Tibbs or Trey Burks or McBride to freak you out on the New York. But that's about it for me, dude. I'm so hyped about tomorrow. I know we lost the pick. I don't see much trade movement for the Jets. We'll see. I know we're picking 6th tomorrow in the second round. That's our only second round pick now, which is fine. I think that's what we originally had. No, that's actually the Panthers pick. We traded our second round pick. But I'm really hyped about it. I personally, right off the bat, I think it's going to be Jones, the defensive tackle, or I think it's going to be Muma. I know we don't need a linebacker. I know we don't need defensive linemen anymore. But like I think I one of those two guys are my picks right now for the 38.
I have no idea what the Jets are going to do tomorrow.
I think Muma might be a 3rd round guy. I think we might be able to get him in the 3rd round, which would be insane. Because I think tomorrow,
So Nakobe Dean?
Nakobe Dean. If we get Nakobe Dean, it's an A+ draft. It's like a generational draft. I mean, he was the play caller. He was the number one guy. He was the captain of what's considered what could be one of the best college defenses of all time. And now we get him next to Mosley inside of this defense with Robert Saleh.
Don't forget Alex's boy, Mr. Williams,
who John Franklin Myers.
Who he picked him up the Jaguars like waiver. Right? Well, now he's our starter. We're like, we're good at linebacker. All right, everyone's saying that. Everyone's saying it.
Hey, everyone's saying it.
I know the GM is saying me. Alex is telling me. Everybody's telling me we're good at linebacker, except for we give up 1,000 yards to a tight end every year, and 11 touchdowns, but whatever.
What's
because we didn't have a defensive end that could jack somebody up at the line of scrimmage, bro. We need someone that can jack him up. That's what it is.
Funny you say that. I there's always a stupid line from ESPN or NFL that pisses me off on the day of the draft. Like that one time where they said, "Oh, the Jets needs everything." Right? That pissed me off. This year, it
happened
was
for the Knicks too.
Happened for the Knicks too. This year, it was that one of the biggest losses the Jets had, Shaq Lawson. What are you guys talking about? Like, what is anyone even talking about? That was our biggest loss. Like how we got for the 5th round, and we got pissed off that we didn't play him. That's
John,
the guy.
if anything from last season where we had, or was it 2 seasons ago, where Trevor Lawrence should stay in school and shouldn't go to the Jets and all that type of stuff. No one really covers the Jets.
What was his name?
Unless it's SNY.
Jeremy Shapp.
Or The Athletic.
I'll never forget you.
Unless it's the New York Post, the Daily News, The Athletic, or SNY.
Jeremy Shapp. He lives rent free in my brain. That clip lives rent free in my brain. I'm telling you, right? It has a room and everything.
I really hope the Jaguars suck. I really do.
Greg, what do you got? What do you got for tomorrow? Any lasting thoughts for round 2 for today?
Looking at the big board, like the ESPN big board. So I mean, if you have your own or you're looking at other places, whatever it is, like the positions that we don't need, like we don't need a cornerback, we don't need a defensive end, we don't need a edge rusher, we don't need a wide receiver. They're just like
do we go safety?
Two safeties are gone.
Yeah, they just took the last two safeties just went. So it's like there's literally like 3 or 4 people. There's Nakobe Dean. There's then it goes down deep. Then it goes 11 people down as your boy Travis Jones, defensive tackle.
Kenneth Walker.
Unless we're looking at running back. Breece Hall's up there. He's the 4th ranked guy. Kenneth Walker's the 13th ranked guy.
Oh, I didn't see the Vikings took Lewis Sign. Wow.
Yeah. So are we looking at running back tomorrow with the sixth pick of the second round?
I don't see us passing Jones. I'll be honest.
I think if Jones is there, Logan Hall is another name that people really like from Houston. I think that, if one of the defensive guys, and Nakobe Dean, if one of those guys are there, I think there's definitely a shot. If we're looking at safety, you have to go pretty far down. I mean, the 18th overall guy is the guy from Baylor, Jalen Petrie. He's okay. He's fast, which is nice.
We have safeties. Like, we paid a strong safety. And we have like 7 free safeties, right? We have, whether it's Pinnock who's trying, whether it's Lamarcus Joyner coming back. We did sign Will Parks. I mean, it's not desperation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's bodies.
The other name that's kind of far down, that if you guys remember from the senior bowl that we talk about a lot, is Perion Winfrey from Oklahoma.
Oh.
He was going nuts.
Yeah.
He was going nuts at the senior bowl. I mean, he's far down. He's the 23rd ranked guy according to ESPN, which would be quite a reach for us in the second round. But maybe there's an opportunity. We saw a bunch of trades going down. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to trade down. Someone needs a wide receiver. There's still a bunch of wide receivers left. There's still a bunch of cornerbacks left. So maybe someone needs to move up, and we could trade down 5 or 6 spots and take one of these defensive linemen.
We are back in the back of the third. We did lose our top 2nd pick and our top 3rd pick in the trade, but we're back in the top. We're back. We have 2/3 still. So we still have the back 2nd and 2/3. So
we have, I think, 1/3 and 2/4.
1/3 the back. Okay, yeah, sorry. We still have the back 3rd. We still have a top 2nd. We have 2/4.
Yep.
I mean, you think Muma's there at the end? You think Muma is the 3rd?
The problem is I don't know if he's a late 3rd. That's my problem.
Guys, if we get Chad Muma on the squad at plus Jones, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't even know how I'm gonna act. Like, I legit don't know.
5 defensive guys in the first 5 or 6 picks. I would be okay with that.
I mean, the defense needs help. Let's keep it real. Offense is pretty much it's set. I mean, we could legit try to get. They don't need it right now. We don't need that true running back that could be a workhorse. That's later.
Walker and Carter would be sexy. I don't know what other word to use, but Walker and Carter would be sexy 1-2. Like, there's no other words for me but that.
But we don't need it right now. That's the thing. Like, we don't need that.
We don't need it, but it would be phenomenal because there's always running backs. There's always running backs. So I agree. We don't
exactly. There's always a running back. So it's like you look at the offense right now. It's pretty much set. I mean, unless you want to go find a center, but outside of Linderbaum, there's no one in there that you're really going after. So Chad Muma, he's projected to be somewhere in the middle of the second, around the 50s as of right now. Jets could try to get cute and try to trade back and try to get some more value and see what happens. But
I can see them getting Jones. Yo, John Franklin Myers, Vinny Curry, and Jones just rotating that middle. What's up?
Williams, right?
Quentin Williams, Carl Lawson.
Your boy JJ.
Jermaine
We got
Johnson.
JJ in there. Whew. All right, one last thing, though, before we wrap up, because I don't think we're going to be doing another emergency pod after the 2nd and 3rd round. 4th round pick, we got to take that punter from San Diego State.
I'm so down. But
one of those 2 picks.
Okay. 4th, I've seen weird stuff about him. He's been my guy all year, but I've seen like weird stuff about him. Like, when the NFL starts like talking about him and like, oh, I don't know if he's going to make it.
He punts the ball 85 yards. Say all the weird stuff you want. I don't care. Give me that guy.
Okay, but the criticism was, can he place it? Or is he going to is he going to be touchback city? Because honestly, the criticism was really Mel Kiper-ish. It was just like, oh, this guy offensive line, he's going to get penalties. Oh, this punter, he's going to get touchbacks.
Who cares?
Okay,
You're telling me you're saying right now a criticism for not drafting his guy is that the other team might start the ball at the 20-yard line every single time? Deal. Sign me up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. That's
Deal.
fair.
All right, guys.
I like it, dude.
It's
I like it. Matariza, baby.
Give it to me.
Matariza City.
Lock it
I
in.
like it. I like it.
12th pick
The
of the
punt
fourth
god.
round.
The punt god, baby.
All right. Now
How about Jordan
we're at
Stout?
midnight now.
What about
All
Jordan
right.
Stout? Do you care?
No.
Okay, so Jordan Stout or Matariza or just Matariza?
Just Matariza.
All right.
Just because he
Jordan Stout.
can kick it so far.
All right, fair. All right.
Talk about punters. Jesus, man.
He's
Jesus.
named punter of the year, bro. What do you want? The Penn State guy. Whatever. I think Jordan Stout's a beast. Pat McAfee likes him more.
All right. On that note, it's midnight. This pod has gone off the rails talking about punters. I'm sure everyone's tuned out by that point.
A plus
A
draft.
plus.
A plus draft, indeed. If you made it this far, thank you for all our listeners for sticking with us to hear the excitement. Oh my God.
Shout out
Great
to Coral LeBeef. He knows I called it. Shout out to you, bro.
Great draft. Great draft. All right. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. You know what to do. If you listen to this podcast and you're not subscribed already, we're on all audio listening platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a comment. We're also on YouTube. Look for Knicks, Jets, etc. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. If you watch a video, hit that like button and leave a comment. Add to the conversation. Let us know what you think about this. Let us know what you think about the Jets draft. We think I think it's A plus. Greg's saying A plus. John, do you think it's A plus right now? I mean, they honestly can't mess it up too much further.
I don't want to say plus right now, but it's definitely an A, dude. It's definitely 3 first-round picks, bro. 3, and we still drafting tomorrow. What else? I don't know.
Exactly.
It's
John's not
That's
with
like
us
my
on the A
dream, bro.
plus.
Every time I look at draft stuff, I'm like, oh, the top guys are cool, but I really like a bunch of guys in the middle. And here we are, bro. We got a bunch of guys in the middle. I'm so hyped.
So John's on the A. Greg and I are on the A plus. So leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this draft. Leave it in the comment section. But while you're over here on this channel, we got another podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, our boy Chip Murphy. They go down everything: baseball, NFL, NBA.
I feel bad for Chip. He had the
College.
plus 1800 on Gardner and Jermaine Johnson at 10. Tough. Got him later. That's the plus 1800.
I hit 2 of my 3 picks for Winning Picks Weekly yesterday, so I'm plus money on the draft. So I'm hyped.
Let's go.
Check that out.
You hear that already, right? You're hearing that these guys are making their money. Chip is a little struggling right now, according to these guys. So you know what that means. You got to tune into Winning Picks Week. That means you got to tune into Winning Picks Weekly. Listen to these guys' takes and bet responsibly. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. Thank everyone for tuning in for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. We out.
Don't forget, you traded Jamal Adams and $78 million for AVT and Garret Wilson. Let's go.